Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? Welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. My name is TJ Jones. Thank y'all for checking out the podcast. I really do appreciate it, and I'm glad to do this podcast because we all witnessed the New Orleans Saints get a victory in Week 11 by a score of 34-17. The New Orleans Saints bounced back from the loss against the Atlanta Falcons. And I must say that I was really truly impressed at how the team responded. Defensively, they were stopping the run. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers only ran the ball about 8 times in this game. I like the fact that it was more balanced. We had 28 rushes, 35 passing attempts, so that was good. I think the Saints did a good job controlling the time of possession. I think they held the ball for like 34 minutes of this game. That is the recipe for success. That is the recipe for winning football games. So I'm really excited. I'm happy that the New Orleans Saints got it done. I'm excited that the Who That Nation, I know everybody on Cloud 9 right now, having a bad taste in their mouth, from last week, but the Saints are 8-2, and now we are waiting on the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. If the Arizona Cardinals beat the San Francisco 49ers, then the New Orleans Saints will be the number one seed in the NFC. So we're going to have to be looking at that game. I don't know what the score is. Last time I checked, it was like 3-0, but the Saints, are just a half game back. Oh man, that's awesome! 16-0, awesome, awesome. If the New Orleans Saints, they won this game and Arizona beats San Francisco, the Saints have the number one seed because the two opponents that the 49ers lost to, the Saints beat. So the Saints, owns the tiebreaker. Excuse me, like I said, if you watch my live last night, my throat is just a little bit hoarse, so I apologize for that. And I'm just excited about this game, man. I like what I saw out of New Orleans Saints. I mean, the first drive, the first drive of the game by the Saints, I thought it was pretty good. The issue with that was once again, they didn't get into the end zone on the opening drive. Something they got to work on. They got down in Tampa Bay territory. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Um, Alvin Kamara, he was involved in this game. I like that. It seems like he's back. It seems like he's more confident. He's a lot more confident than when he came back against the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like in this game, he trusted his body a little bit more. He was looking like himself. And I'm excited to see that. And I know a lot of people in the Who That Nation are excited to see that too. You had Latavius Murray. He was getting those tough yards. Michael Thomas was doing Michael Thomas things. Michael Thomas is just on another level right now, man. I mean, anytime a team comes into a game and they know that their number one receiver is going to be doubled and triple covered, and yet the Saints still try to find ways of getting him matchup problems is amazing. I mean, I've seen one play. I mean, Levante David was on him. I seen another play. They had Devin White on him. I'm like, how are you allowing your linebackers to be guarding the best wide receiver in football right now? But whatever, like this guy just incredible. What he had in the game, he had 8 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he was targeted 11 times. So I like what I saw out of Michael Thomas. I like what I saw out of Alvin Kamara. I like the balance of the offense. A lot of people asking questions about the offensive line. Nick Easton filled in for Andrews Pete. Did an outstanding job. Worth the money that he was paid as of right now. I know a lot of people like, man, all the money the Saints paid him, why he ain't playing. But he balled out today. And Nick Easton is a veteran. I mean, he played for the Baltimore Ravens. No, not the Baltimore Ravens. The Pittsburgh Steelers, then the Minnesota Vikings, and finally with the Saints. So, I mean, he has experience starting in the league. Um, but I'm just excited. I mean, and we got to talk about the secondary. Shouts out to the secondary. Those guys went out there and they played tough. Missing Marshawn Lattimore. A lot of people was wondering, how they were going to respond. Was Chris Godwin and Mike Evans going to have a field day against the New Orleans Saints secondary, and that didn't happen. They shut those guys down for the most part. I mean, Chris Godwin got a touchdown late in the game, but for the most part, I mean, they done absolutely nothing in this game. I'm looking at their stats right now, nothing to hoop and holler about. I mean, Mike Evans had 4 catches for 69 yards, and Chris Godwin had 3 catches for 47 yards and a touchdown. The person that was keeping those drives alive was a guy that wasn't even playing most of the season, and that was Cameron Brate, a guy who is a really good tight end, and for some apparent reason, Bruce Arians don't let him play. Wanted to go with O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard dropped the ball, which caused the interception. It was Jameis Winston first of 4 interceptions in the game. I like the instincts of the defense. I knew a time where that pass when they got picked off watching the Saints defense. But I'm really excited looking at this secondary. Marcus Williams, he needs to be on somebody Pro Bowl list. I think that he pretty much solidified himself. I mean, he caught an interception in almost every game he done played this season, and he returned one for a touchdown. Really good to know that he bounced back after everything that went through with the Minnesota Miracle and everything like that. Probably one of the best safeties in football right now. Nobody's talking about. You had guys that were playing in positions that they weren't used to. You had Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I even seen him play a couple plays on the outside. So it was amazing to see guys just step up and play, such a such a tough game. And PJ Williams, I mean, we give him a lot of flack. I know I do, but I mean, you got to get credit where credit is due. Catching that interception on the goal line. Also the Saints stopping them on the goal line in order for that interception to take place. So the way I see it, the New Orleans Saints, this was a good team win. This was a way to bounce back. Great leadership that this team has. Great resolve these guys have. And I think that the Saints are the best team, in the league, in my opinion. So that's my opening statement. If you want to, you can always donate to the State of the Saints podcast by using Streamlabs, or you can use Super Chats. Okay, so if you want to donate to the show, we really do appreciate it. And you can just always do. And the notification will pop up, with your name and everything like that on there. So feel free to do so. And thank you for your love and your support of the podcast. And once again, I apologize for my voice, but it is what it is, I'm drinking tea and water, I'm trying to get better. So I got my tea right here and I got my water. So we're going to give it a go. And hopefully my voice don't just go completely out. So CJ Williams, great bounce back game. Kamara is back to normal, and the defense was dominant. Yeah, the defense, I wouldn't call it dominant. I wouldn't call the defense dominant, but they had a bend but don't break, and they were generating turnovers. Young Nola was going on. Thank you for checking out the podcast like always. Kane Arthur was going on. Same to you. You said Arizona is up 16-0. I'm glad to hear that. Kyler giving them fits. Yeah, Kyler Murray gets better every single week. He really is showing that he belongs in the National Football League. Doing an incredible job out there in Arizona, and he's only going to get better. Who that TJ? Great game from both sides of the ball. Yeah, it was a group effort, man. It was a joint effort to try to get this dub, and they got it done, man. That's what great teams do. They find ways to win. They overcome adversity, and that's the New Orleans Saints this season. Alvin Kamara looking like himself again. Yeah, I totally agree. Chosen says, who that TJ? We look good in this bounce back game, man. And I was able to watch the NFC South versus everybody podcast, and I enjoy it. I will be tuning in more also. We need to work on our red zone offense early. Yeah. Thank you for checking out that podcast, man. If y'all haven't already, please check out the NFC South versus the NFL. It's a podcast that I do. It features myself, Mike Ricks, who's a fan of the Carolina Panthers, and GJ Hopkins, who's a fan of the Buccaneers. And we break down the NFC South, and we also talk about hot NFL topics. So go to facebook.com, search NFC South versus NFL, and check it out. Tell me what y'all think. Jerry, what's going on? Jerry says 8-2, absolutely. And hopefully, like I said, Arizona gets the job done. And, we end up getting that number one seed. Way to get Murray some more snaps. And also my boy Marcus Williams with the church. I thought it said church. With the clutch pick six. A nice farewell gift from Jameis Winston. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Look, Jameis Winston, I mean, he's just a turnover machine, man. Like, he does some good things in games. But at the end of the day, I mean, you got to hold on to the football. I don't think they're going to re-sign him back to a long-term deal. I think he's going to be somebody backup quarterback. And it's unfortunate, man. I mean, I hate to say it like this, but Bruce Arians is more like the quarterback whisperer. And if Bruce Arians can't fix you, then nobody can. King Arthur, that guy, Demario, yeah, Demario Davis, outstanding. This dude stopped the run on one play and then caught an interception the next play, all over the field. I mean, stopping guys from getting first downs. I mean, this guy is just incredible. The Saints are lucky to have this guy at the linebacker position. That pick six by Marcus Williams sealed the 8 win. Yeah, it did, man. And looking at that pick six, I'm gonna be honest with you, it looked like Tampa Bay kind of gave up after that. Kind of realized, man, they ain't about to win this game. It didn't seem like guys were trying to really try to get at Marcus Williams. It wasn't like Marcus Williams was blazing up the sideline or something like that, man. I mean, I felt like guys could have probably caught him, but I mean, that just shows you right there, not uh, that's not championship football, And Jameis Winston, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a issue and a problem that they need to solve, and it may involve them not having Jameis Winston next season. Pete can take a hike. I prefer my left guard not falling on their butts every time they touch the field. Yeah, Andrews Pete won't get re-signed by New Orleans Saints. That's the reason why I feel like Nick Easton has come in. I feel like that's what the reason why the Saints end up getting him anyway. Because he can play both positions. He can play center and guard. The problem was Eric McCoy. He shined in training camp, and Andrews Pete, he was a steady hand, and he had chemistry with Teron Armstead on the offensive line. So he couldn't get on the field, So because he couldn't get on the field, he was on the sidelines. But now we see, he can play, and I feel like he will do a good job. He did it today. Tyra Smith said, "Who that? I'm driving." Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But make sure you focus on that road. Make sure this is your last message that's sent. Saying until you become stationary until you stop the car. Okay, I don't condone people texting and driving or commenting and driving and stuff like that. So make sure that you park your car before you make another comment. Let's see. Still need a number two receiver. Yeah, absolutely. I put up the stats today, and I looked at the receiving. You looked at Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara had 10 receptions in the game. Michael Thomas had 8. I think Ted Ginn had 1. Traquan Smith had 0. Hogan had 0. I'm like, the guys that caught the ball for the most part wasn't at the wide receiver position, and that's a problem, man. So I think the Saints they need to do something. I think a lot of people would say, well, too little, too late, because they the season is almost over, but man, they need some help. I don't know if you need to try to implement these guys a little bit more in the game or what. But it just seems like these guys just can't get open, or maybe Drew is not looking for them because they don't have no confidence in them. I don't know. But they need to do something. Who's here with me on how we lose to the Falcons last week, bro? Well, the Falcons look like they didn't turn the corner, to be honest with you. It looked like they didn't turn the corner. It looked like they didn't done a 360. You know, the way that they beat up on the Saints last week and the way they dominated the Panthers this week. So it seems like to me something is going on in Atlanta. Might be a little bit too late, but it's still going on. And I think there'll be good momentum for them to go through the offseason with. But I mean, they honestly are desperate. They don't have anything to lose, and that's a dangerous team because now they can do all those weird, crazy, outlandish plays because they know they're not going to the playoffs. So that's a scary team in my opinion. Uh, let's see. I'm watching this game, kick butt Cardinals. Yeah, I hope they do, man. I'm about to pull it up on my phone right now so I can kind of gain track it, see what's going on with that because like I said, that has some very serious playoff implications with the Saints in that game. So right now it's 16-7. It seems like the Cardinals have the ball, and well, not anymore. The 49ers got the ball now because Arizona just punted to them. But 16-7, 4:46 remaining in the second quarter, and I'm gonna keep a close eye on that game. Who's there with me? Oh, I already read that. I think Marshawn can miss the Carolina game to get healthier and come back either against the Falcons or the 49ers. Yeah, probably going to be the 49ers in my opinion, man. I don't think he's going to play in a game against the Falcons. Dealing with those hamstrings, it take you a couple of weeks. It's going to be a short week for the New Orleans Saints starting next week. I mean, you go up against Carolina Panthers at home, and then you have a short week. And you got to play on Thursday in Mercedes-Benz Stadium against the Atlanta Falcons. So it's going to be a tough couple of days for the Saints, and he might end up playing on Thanksgiving, but I don't think he would. I think the Saints are probably going to try to see if they can get the job done for a couple of weeks without him, because they don't want him to go out there get hurt, and the next thing you know, they lose him for the entire season. So I wouldn't want that. Let's see, Demario or Vilma. I'll be honest with you, that's a tough one. Uh, Demario Davis is doing some amazing things. He's all over the field. He's a leader. He's a run stopper. He gets pressure on the quarterback. He can, and this is one thing that he has above Velma, in my opinion. He has good covering skills. Velma could tackle. Velma sticks his head in. Velma had a lot of heart, but Velma wasn't running with the running backs, and he wasn't a good guy in coverage. That wasn't really his thing. He can make a play in coverage, but not like the Mario can. So as of right now, in my opinion, looking for him, I'm gonna go with Velma right now because Velma played a little bit longer with the Saints than Demario, but I can see people saying that Demario Davis is one of the best free agent acquisitions the Saints ever had, and probably be mentioned among some of those great linebackers of the past. So I think he has that type of ability, and he has that type of man. He got that type of ability. Is it True not trusting other receivers? Are they really not getting open? I think True got a trust issue. I don't know about no trust issues, but I know Drew Brees. I know this was a win, but Drew Brees, I mean, his arm strength isn't what it used to be. I mean, I looked at this pass. It was like, I think it was like second and 18 or something like that. And he was trying to throw back to Ted Ginn Jr. on the comeback route. When I said that boy grounded that football, man, I'm like, it was 18 yards, man. He threw that ball 15. And I'm like, man, what's going on? And then again, he tried to do the same thing. And I thought maybe, somebody may have tipped it, or, he couldn't get it over the line on second down, on third down. He did the same thing. And I'm like, wow, like it is a reason why they do so many intermediate routes. You know what I'm saying? You don't really see nothing get pushed down the field. Drew is so accurate, but and he can also get the ball where it needs to be, where guys can make plays. Case in point, Michael Thomas today, getting those extra yards, but throwing the ball downfield, I don't think he has it anymore. In my opinion. but he's still doing a good job for what it's worth. I mean, 3 touchdowns today ain't nothing to sneeze at. So if the Cardinals win, do we get the number one seed? I think you explained it, but I came in late. Yeah, chosen. Yeah, we the Saints will get the number one seed. The Saints will get the number one seed because the 49ers are only a half game back. One, because they would lose the teams that the Saints have beaten. The Saints have beaten the Seattle Seahawks and they have beaten the Arizona Cardinals. So with that, the Saints would jump. They would jump the 49ers and they will be the number one seed. So that's why it's important for us to look at that game, because if the Arizona Cardinals win, then the Saints will be the one seed. And the Saints control their destiny after that. Easton looked really good today. Yeah, I agree. He looked really good. Like I say, he's a seasoned veteran. He's a guy that has been played in some games as a starter. Uh, I think all the reason why the Steelers didn't keep him is because they had Vilma on their team. So we all know what he can do, and so that's the reason why they ended up, giving up on Nick Easton, and he ended up going to Minnesota. And once again, they got a younger offensive lineman, so he was kind of what you call a casualty of war. Uh, so I mean, I'm glad the Saints have him. I'm pretty sure, they're not going to sign back Andrews Pete, so it's going to be Nick Easton in the future. Uh, let's see. What's the timetable for Lattimore? It's week to week. 504 is week to week. Hamstrings are week to week. It depends on how the player feels, and the team doctors and stuff like that. So it basically depends on how he feels, And in my opinion, like I said, I think it's probably gonna be like 3 weeks or something like that. Uh, let's see, if we don't sign Pete, at least we will free up some spending money. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna re-sign him. I mean, I just think that's facts. I think we seen the last of Andrews Pete in the Saints uniform after this season. Who that from Afghanistan? Man, thank you very much for checking it out. Keen push. Thank you, man. Thank you for everything that you're doing out there, man. Defending us, defending our freedom, man. You be safe out there. Thank you for checking out the podcast. 16-7, Cardinals winning right now. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Let's see. The ball is at the Arizona 39-yard line. It's 1st and 5, and the 49ers have the football. Look like they driving, so got to keep an eye on that game. Yeah, Demario doing a good job. Um, I knew they were going to be all right. Saints always come back strong. Get well. I'm going to need you to keep me informed. A lot of peppermint tea. God bless you and our team. Yeah, Gail, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Voice a little raspy right now. Like I said, I'm drinking my tea, and yeah, eventually my voice will come back. It's just out here in the Carolinas, man. Between like the weather, one day being 80, then the next day is 47, and then the next day is 80, and then the next day is 25. Like it's hard to keep your voice, and in between like all that talking at the station and stuff like that, my voice is just completely shot. But it is what it is. um, let's see. Also, TJ, can I listen to your radio station from Baton Rouge if possible? I don't have a radio station anymore. I tried to do that. It was called Unapologetic Radio. I was trying to do like the independent radio thing, but man, it didn't really work out. I wasn't really getting the response that I thought I would get by launching something like that. I basically wanted independent artists and independent podcasters to be a part of it. But it just seems like, when people just think that you're small time and stuff like that, they don't feel like it's worth the investment. But I'm all for buying into people's dreams, and I'm willing to spend the money because there's so many talented people out here in this world that don't get the attention because they don't know the right people. Let's just be honest, man. Some of the stuff that we see in radio and entertainment, We know about five, six people much better than these folk. And it's not because these people aren't talented. It's just the fact that they don't have the opportunity that those people we see on TV, or the people that we hear on the radio. So I wanted to give people opportunities, but unfortunately, the radio station didn't really pan out. So I decided to do my own thing for right now, which is doing this show, the State of the Saints podcast, and also have an independent podcast called the Unapologetic Podcast that I just started 3 weeks ago. So y'all can check that out. You can go to youtube.com, search Unapologetic Podcast, and y'all can check that out. I've done 3 episodes. It's also available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio.com. Just search Unapologetic Podcast. Um, let's see. The New Orleans Saints control their own destiny. All they have to do is win out. But I am concerned about our receiving corps, though. Yeah, I'm concerned about it, but they've been making it work this long, But I just feel like it's gonna catch up with them, and it might catch up with them at a wrong time. But hopefully, Sean Payton know what he's doing. I feel like in the playoffs, y'all probably gonna see all type of things he probably throw at teams. So I'm interested to see it. Falcons can only play spoiler at this point. We better be on point on Thursday night football. The Saints gonna be ready for the Falcons. I'm telling you right now, they're gonna be ready for them. It's gonna be a hard fought game. Like this might be like one of them games similar to the San Francisco 49ers Seattle Seahawks Monday night football game. So sit back and enjoy it, and make sure that you probably, you know, make sure you got your heart medicine on the side of you, or your blood pressure medication, because it's gonna be one of them games on Thursday night. Timothy Washington said very good bounce back win for Saturday. I mean for the Saints. There's always concern and overreaction after a bad loss, and rightfully so. But this team has always responded well the last 2 seasons. Who that? The thing about the Saints is we're Saints fans. We're so emotionally invested in the team. Like we love them so much. And these last 2 years in the postseason, it just let us down so much as fans. Now it's like we're so paranoid because they're so successful, and we're happy that they're successful, but it's still that fear in the back of our minds, like, man, like when is it going to really hurt us or something like that? And a lot of people, I feel like they overreact, in my opinion, to soften the blow in case there is some, I guess, like some setback or something like that, to put their minds at ease. I'm not sure, but I just know one thing: the New Orleans Saints are a really good football team. Uh, they are one of the most resilient teams in the National Football League, and I think all of those losses in heartbreaking fashion only help them to be at this point right now. And I'm really really excited about where this future of this team is going to go. So that's the way I feel about it. We are blessed to have DD. Yeah, Demario Davis. Yeah, we blessed to have him. We don't really have to worry about him being out of position or anything like that. Like even that touchdown that was thrown to the running back by Jameis Winston, that wasn't even his fault. I mean, AJ Klein was supposed to close in, but AJ Klein decided to guard the tight end, which was the job of Marcus Williams and Vine Bell, and that was the reason why they ended up scoring the touchdown. And he talked to AJ Klein after the play. So I mean, he really doesn't get caught out of position a lot, and you never look at him and be like, man, come on, Demario, man, you got to make that tackle. I mean, if Demario put his hands on you, going down. Iceman T says, great game, Saints, man. Great game, Saints, man. Everyone played well. I still need more from Traquan. That's just the truth. I think we all need more from Traquan. Traquan been playing like straight trash. I mean, this man been going AWOL. He'll show up. He'll not show up. The Saints gonna need him down the stretch, but I think Key Kirkwood is gonna come back in a couple weeks, so I'm excited about that. I agree, TJ. I like the linebacker who can cover, but Vilma brought that. Yeah, he brought it. Like I said, I mean, wasn't really too much I can argue with about Velma. I mean, he was a really good player, but I just feel like in this league right now, and in the league where Jonathan Velma was a part of, probably towards the later bit of his career, you need to be a linebacker that can cover. And I don't think that was one of his strong points. He wasn't that fast. He was just a good tackler, and he was a smart football player. He was good at putting these guys in position. So, but Demario Davis, I mean, he just checks all the boxes. He's a good leader. He's well respected. He leads by example. He makes plays, and that's what you want out of your defensive player. That's what you want out of your linebacker. And he checks all that. He checks all those boxes. Let's see. Who that? Von Bell with his first career interception. Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's crazy though, right? You would think that Von Bell would have caught an interception in his career. I mean, the way he's been playing, but the majority of the plays he's made been forced fumbles. But congratulations to him. Pretty sure he's going to put that ball up somewhere, in a trophy case. But Von Bell has been playing good all season, and hopefully he continues to do that. Um, do you think we will keep DD or will he be a cap casualty? No, absolutely not. He's not going to be a cap casualty. They're definitely going to keep him. I can see him being a New Orleans Saint for the remainder of his career. The fact that he grew up cheering for the Saints. He grew up in Brandon, Mississippi, which is about, I say, about 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away from New Orleans. So I think he loves being a part of the organization, and I think the Saints love him being there. So I think he's going to be an incredible linebacker, and I think he's probably going to be one of those Saints players that play for the rest of their career. You don't let a guy like that out of the locker room. You try to make sure you keep a guy like that in there because he's a great leader. The NFC is legit: Saints, Packers, Seahawks, Niners, Cowboys, Eagles, Vikings. Yeah, it's definitely legit. I seen the Vikings play today. I think they was down 20-0 or 23-0. Came back, scored 27 unanswered points to beat the Denver Broncos in Minnesota. The Eagles, they're playing the Patriots right now. Don't know the score of that game. Niners are losing to the Seahawks, right? I mean, not the Seahawks, the Cardinals. I mean, but at the end of the day, that shows you the greatness of the NFC, not just for those top teams, but those lower level teams giving these guys fits. Like the Cowboys could have easily lost today. I mean, they could have easily lost that game, but they didn't. The Packers, they had a couple rough games. The Seahawks, they had a couple rough games. The Eagles, I mean, I just don't trust them or the Cowboys. And the Vikings, I mean, they still got Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of time before that knife get into the back of those players. I don't trust them at all. Uh, keep bringing the fire, TJ. Get well soon. My break is over. Yeah, 504. Well, you can get back to work. You can always catch the end of this podcast, this live viewing anytime you want to, man. It's available to you on YouTube at the end of the recording, or the live stream, I should say. Uh, Both from Jets. I'm not sure what that means, Tyra. Okay, yeah. I get it. Velma and Davis. They both from the Jets. Yeah, that's a good point. I believe that the Packers would hold the number one as of now if the Niners were to lose because they lost one NFC game and lost to the Chargers in the AFC, I believe. Um, yeah, but I think it's about overall overall records as well. It's not just your losses to the NFC. I think they look at like overall records, like combined records or whatever like that of the teams. So even with that, I think the Saints might end up being the one seed over them. But I could be wrong. But I think the Saints only were a half game back from the from the 49ers. So I could be wrong, but I think they said they were a half game lead back. So if they are, then that means that the Saints will jump them and they will be the number one seed. Well, I have my own recording studio. Me and my cousin built from the ground up, and I'm an independent artist. So if you ever get another shot, I'm willing to invest, even if you need a theme song. I appreciate that, chosen. I appreciate that. Um, like I said, I just want to give people opportunities and stuff, man. Because I feel like there's a lot of people hating on people that got talent and skills and ability, and some people just don't follow them just because they got talent, skills, and ability. And I don't feel like that's right. I feel like people have a right to express their talent, and we shouldn't be afraid to say that person is good. It just seems like we're so quick to hate on one another. Not everybody, but it seems like we're so quick to hate on one another just because they have talent. Like uplift people, you know what I'm saying? Encourage them. If you can help them get where they need to be, help them out. Even if that means, listening to their song or something like that. Like support the people that are around you, man. Because those people are the ones that's going to remember that. Not so much those people who that we go crazy for every time we go to a concert and stuff, and we always seeing them on video walking past the people that's paying their hard-earned money, to buy their albums, to watch their movies and stuff. Like, man, bump all that, man. Support independent artists and independent ventures as well. Dude, I think I speak for everyone when I say this podcast is such a breath of fresh air for real, for real. Iceman T, thank you very much, man. And thank you for your podcast as well. I enjoy that. I don't take any credit for just doing a good podcast, man. I mean, I'm just a fan once again. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about respecting people's point of view. It's about showing love and support to each other. Like I might I might not agree with what you're saying, but at the end of the day, we can agree to disagree because we're all Saints fans at the end of the day. That's one of the issues that I have with some of the groups that I see on social media. I see a lot of fighting. I see a lot of cursing, people calling people stupid, and you don't got no knowledge of this, that, and the third. And that's not what it's all about. It's about respecting one another's point of view. And if a person, has some information that may be a little bit incorrect, I mean, you can always present it to them in a non-threatening way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that doesn't mean that that person doesn't know what they're talking about. Maybe they're a little bit misinformed. This podcast is just designed to be for everybody. I look at everybody's comments. Even though like I accept donations, I'm not out here telling people they gotta donate. And how some people they only read people's comments until they donate. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody to be heard, regardless to how you are heard. And I want you to be respected and have a right to say whatever you want to say. The only thing I would, the only thing I suggest on YouTube is not curse because I know so many young kids that look at this show. As a matter of fact, my mom, I don't mean to be off track, but my mom was telling me about this 9-year-old boy who tunes into every podcast that I've done. I was extremely humbled by that, but it just made me understand, like, you know, we don't know who we're role models for. We don't know who follows us. We don't know who support us. So that's one of the reasons why I'm really adamant about language and stuff like that on here. So thank y'all, for everything that y'all do. Thank y'all for y'all support and stopping by. I appreciate that. Okay, so do you think it's Drew's arm strength? That's why other receivers are not making plays. No need to drop your safeties more than 25 yards if he can't get it over his head. That's a good point, Irvin. That's a good point. Um, that's interesting because on one hand, Teddy Bridgewater, who has a stronger arm, excuse me, than Drew Brees, he still wasn't throwing the ball downfield too much, was he? I mean, that was still the argument that they weren't getting the ball downfield. So, and also, even when he was in a game, I mean, guys weren't making plays. The only ones that were making plays was Cook and Michael Thomas, same usual suspects that we seen every single week. So I don't know if it's just them. I don't know if it's just the fact that he can't throw the ball deep. I mean, if you're not getting separation from the cornerbacks or the safeties, it's pointless. And what I see right now, I just see a whole bunch of guys that are just running around on the field, that's being decoys. And I just think the Saints need to get some better receivers, or I don't know, put these guys in better position to succeed. Um, I was at the game. It was amazing. Pennywise, I remember you mentioned that you was gonna be at the game. I think that was last night or something, if I'm not mistaken. Glad you enjoyed your experience. I heard Raymond James Stadium is incredible. I'm actually I'm actually going to Raymond James Stadium, but for a different reason. I'm going to WrestleMania next year. Like I said, I'm a big wrestling fan, so I'll get opportunity to go to Raymond James Stadium to check out WrestleMania. But I heard that it was a good venue, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I'm definitely glad that the black and gold won for you today. What's up with Emmanuel Butler, TJ? Emmanuel Butler still wet behind the ears here. Still wet behind the ears. Still has a lot of learning to do. Yeah, he's 6'4", 225 pounds, big physical guy, but he still has to work on some of his abilities. And I feel like the Saints kind of use this as a red shirt season for him. I think they probably gonna end up unleashing him next season if he has developed into the receiver they want him to be. So, but I think he has some issues like with his blocking ability, and also has some of his he's had some issues with getting separation. So, giving him a red shirt, getting him an opportunity to work on that, also work on his football body and everything like that. I think he's going to be ready. Maybe Keith Kirkwood just might be that guy. It remains to be seen. The truth hurts. That's a good point. Keith Kirkwood, when he comes into the game, he does make plays. I like the way that he plays. He reminds me of Willie Snead. That's who he reminds me. I don't want to say Lance Moore, because I think it's Lance Moore, Willie Snead, Keith Kirkwood. Like, I think that Keith Kirkwood has some skills. I think he can end up being a player like a Lance Moore. But I mean, you got to stay healthy. I mean, you can't be out here getting hurt. The team needs you, so you got to be smart with it. Um, Not impressed with the 49ers. I haven't been impressed with the 49ers either. I mean, you look at their schedule and who they played. The schedule was like really, really easy towards the beginning of the season. Now it's like, I mean, it's like dead man's row right now. I mean, I think after this game against the Cardinals, I think then they got to play the Ravens. No, I know. Then they play the Packers, and then they got to play the Ravens, and then they got to play us. So it's just like bam, bam, bam. So we're gonna really find out who the 49ers really are this season. We're gonna find out who they are, because right now, I'm gonna be honest with you, they looking hella suspect. Hella suspect. Marcus Williams has to be one of the best free safeties in the league right now. Absolutely. And ranked Pro Football Focus, he is the best safety in the league right now. He has the highest safety grade. I've been talking about this dude for weeks. I told you, like, this guy is just incredible. I mean, I even put articles up on the State of the Saints podcast Facebook page talking about it. This guy's the truth. I know a lot of people, talk about this man for missing that tackle in the divisional round of the playoffs, but I mean, he is so much better than that, and he has bounced back tremendously from that. So you got to be proud of this guy. You got to be proud of Marcus Williams, everything that he's been through, to be able to weather the storm and play at such a high level. Um, Eli Apple for Pro Bowl. Oh man, I don't think Eli Apple belong in the Pro Bowl. I'm sorry, y'all. Is he playing much better? Absolutely. But being in the Pro Bowl, I don't think so. I mean, when you look at all those other players that they probably going to select, let's just be honest. Myron Jones from the Cowboys, because he's always on TV and people singing his praises, even though he's not really that good, in my opinion. You got him. You got Richard Sherman. You got Marshawn Lattimore. Those are the three, people that's probably going to be at cornerback. And at the slots and stuff like that, you probably have to look at some other guys. But I don't know if Eli Apple going to end up going to the Pro Bowl at that position. But I really believe that he's not going to resign with the Saints. I don't think the Saints are going to resign him. I think he's playing because he understands that he's going to have empty pockets. So this is Eli Apple showing everybody that that he can play, and he's trying to set himself up to get a contract because you got to remember the Saints. They did not repick. They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. So after this year, he's an unrestricted free agent. So right now he's playing with empty pockets. So you better put up your best performance, because other teams are looking at you. The Eagles are up 10-3. Okay, thank you very much, Pennywise. So we got to keep a close lookout on that game because I guess the NFC East, if I think the Eagles are like a game back or a half game back from the Cowboys. So that's interesting, man. Ever since Orlando Scandrick went on TV and talked about the Eagles and talked about their team, they haven't lost a game since. So they probably have to thank Orlando Scandrick. So if they make the playoffs, they might want to send that man a thank you card. The defense did a good job. The offense needs work on situational football. Get the damn play calls in. DJ, yeah, that's a good point, man. The Saints in the second half, they burned all their timeouts. Before it was like even at the 10-minute mark. So I think they need to work on that, and also think they need to work on their sense of urgency when it comes to the audibles, because it just seems like Drew Brees spend most of his time on the play clock trying to get guys into position. I heard Drew Brees on one play tell a guy, "Get back, get back!" Like he wasn't even supposed to audible out or nothing like that. And so I think most of the time it's just Drew trying to get these guys into position. So they do need to work on that though, because using up all your timeouts, by with like 10 minutes left in the game, you don't want to do that. What seed y'all think we will finish? I'm gonna say the 1 seed, until I'm proven otherwise. I know I like how your voice sound like Call from Sleep. Oh man. Uh, Yeah, man. Yeah, my voice kind of chopped up right now, man. But like I say, eventually it'll get back to it. It'll get back to it eventually, hopefully. Hmm. The Falcons won again, 29-3. Should we be worried about them? I ain't worried about no Falcons. I'm not worried about them at all. They won 29-3 today. Yippee! But at the end of the day, um, I just feel like they're not better than the Saints. That's just what it is. And I feel like it was more about what the Saints wasn't doing more so than what they were doing. And I think that I'm telling you, I don't think they are going to get ran over by the Saints. Like I said, I think it's going to be equivalent to the game, the Seattle Seahawks 49ers Monday Night Football game that we just watched not too long ago. I think it's going to be similar to that. It's going to be a dogfight, but I think the Saints going to be victorious. That's what I feel. Uh, by I can't stay very long. Well, thank you very much, Pennywise. Thank you so much, for checking in and telling us about your experience at the game. Glad you enjoyed it. See you next show. Really do appreciate it. Wyatt, BDV. I went to the game. It was great. Who that? Another person that went to the game. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Like I said, it's so much better, when you're traveling, or I don't know if y'all stay in Tampa or not, but if you travel to a game and the team that you're rooting for, wins the game, it makes the experience so much better. Just imagine collecting all your money, getting hotel accommodations, car rentals, and all that kind of stuff, airplane tickets or what have you, only to see your team lay an egg. Yeah, I feel bad for that, but the Saints gave y'all a W today, so I know you can go home happy if you're not from that area. There would be definite. There would definitely be changes this offseason in the wide receiver court. They can bring Dez in. but it won't matter. And the Saints, Packers, and 49ers would be 8-2. That's why I said Packers will hold the one. Well, I still feel like the New Orleans Saints are better than the Packers. The Packers secondary is suspect to say the least. Like I don't think people paying attention to that. Them boys out there playing man covers like they got Deion Sanders on one side and Daryl Washington on the other side. You know, like or Darrell Reeves or something like that. You know, like they playing man covers like that. I mean, I feel like they can be exposed. I'm not impressed by what I see out of the Green Bay Packers at all. I'm not impressed. Yeah, they got a little bit of a pass rush, but they're susceptible for teams to run on them. I feel like there's a lot of holes in that team that you can expose, and I don't feel like they ran up on the right team just yet. Okay, losing to the Chargers like they did, that just shows me everything you need to know right there. I'm not impressed. I think the Saints can beat them. Let's see. Marcus Williams, Defensive Player of the Year. I wouldn't go that far, but I think he needs to be in the Pro Bowl. The stadium was actually really nice. Yeah, I heard it was. I heard it was. Um, let's see. Uh, love the Pod family. And thank you very much, Angel and Tyra BRB. You gotta tell me what that means. Eagles 19-16 in the pass game. Okay, all right. So that's gonna be an interesting game. But I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here. Usually I try to go for about an hour, but my voice is kind of shot. But I like to thank y'all for checking out the podcast. Thank you for your love and your support. We're going to continue to talk about the New Orleans Saints during the week. Y'all be on the lookout for the videos that I put out. I put out a video Monday through Friday about the New Orleans Saints. We go live with the prediction show on Saturday, and we do a post game on Sunday. So if you're a first time viewer of the State of the Saints podcast or a first time listener, if you're listening once this is recorded, thank you very much. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast. You can go on Facebook, facebook.com, search State of the Saints Podcast. And thank you all for your love and your support. And until next, my name is TJ.